Greetings, loves. This is coming to you from my altar, and I want to talk about full moon rituals, and the power of the full moon in aiding us in our healing journey and our releases. And so I have very specific rituals that I do every full moon, and I wanted to touch on more of that because I've shared some of them before, but never in full extent. And so today, being the official full moon, is when I create my lists for my release rituals. But I always go back just into the prior moon month to reach down and see what have I been moving through, what do I need to release and heal. And so keeping current with every moon month, you're very clear on what your growth has been and what your healing has been, and it keeps you focused and on key and aligned and all of those beautiful things. And so I have 3 lists. Every official full moon I create a sacred fire in my medicine wheel, and I burn 3 lists. So the first list, and I'm just going to share mine with you so that you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So the first list that I create is a list of forgiveness. And so I say who I forgive and why, and I usually go that extra step and claim what I've learned or what I've gotten from that energy, because really there's no one outside of ourselves. And so when someone triggers us or something is significant enough that we remember it in the full moon and needs forgiveness around it, it's significant in your healing journey as well. So I forgive blank for projecting his shit on me. I recognize I'm a mirror, and this has been happening since I've been a little girl. And so normally in these situations, when I mirror things to people, I can recognize right away that's their shit or this is my shit. But this person very specifically is so like myself that I had to actually be very silent and receptive in the projections. And it took me being outside of that shared space to realize, wait a second, that wasn't my shit. So I forgive him. I forgive blank for trying to create a sexual experience that would empower himself through re-traumatizing me, recreating his own trauma experience, assuming the role of perpetrator. I learned I will always stand in my truth and will not surrender through submission, but rather through safe, pleasurable experiences. So this is also me claiming that for myself, safe and pleasurable experiences. And that's really what conscious lovemaking is all about. I forgive myself for doubting myself. I forgive blank for lying about how he feels. I recognize it's a protection mechanism and immaturity. And this is huge for me because I don't normally forgive people for lying. I forgive them, but for feels. And so this is really me claiming my intuition, me not doubting my intuition, to say what he was saying was a complete betrayal of what he is actually feeling. And I feel that. So I'm honoring my intuition to say he's lying. And so I forgive him. I forgive blank for saying he couldn't feel my power, which was a blatant lie, attempting to bring me to his level of consciousness. I recognize that he does not feel worthy of me. And so I forgive him, but then that extra step actually allows me to open my heart and give him also compassion in that forgiveness. And then again, I forgive myself for creating a wedge in my own commitments with males, because of my aversion of feeling trapped. And so this is huge for me this past month. I know I am on a spiritual path, and being a spiritual woman, male, highly conscious, part of that is the non-attachment, not having attachment issues. And when it's time to move, when you've gotten the lessons and all of the energetic exchanges have been run to exhaustion in certain relationships, it's normal for me to go. And I don't feel bad about that, because I recognize that without attachment, that it has run its course. But that can come off very callous to the person on the receiving end of that if they are not at that same level of consciousness and understand the attachment. But I started recognizing my own pattern of creating wedges in relationship where the males were not at the level I was at of non-attachment, and it started to feel stifling to me. So I am now very aware of that. Also very aware of my need to have an equal match in consciousness so that I won't feel trapped. I will feel free, because they will be at the same level of consciousness and experience the world the way I do. So that's very important, and it's huge for me to come to that realization and claim that for myself. So for the forgiveness list, I put 6, because I'm counting each of the things that I am forgiving and releasing. So when I burn it, I know that I've done 6 things there. And so what I do after I read them aloud at my fire, I make an offering. And you can use anything. You can use resins, you can use herbs, you can use oils, anything to offer to the fire, because fire is also an energy, and it's really important to be in full exchange in every energetic exchange that you have. And so it's important. So I make an offering to the fire. I connect with the herbs. I make an offering to the fire, and then I burn my list. Toss it in the fire. The second list that I create is severing chords and energetic connections. And so what I say, and I'm not going to show you the list, but what I say is I sever all etheric chords and energetic connections with, and then I say each name, and then I call back my parts across all timelines and lifetimes, because some of those connections are karmic, and usually some chords are, well, I can't say usually. A lot of times those chords are made subconsciously or unconsciously done, like with a mother and a child. We do that unknowingly because we love them so much. We want to take their pain, we want to take their experiences from them, but we are actually draining them, and we are robbing them of their own experiences. So severing chords is really important. Who I am normally severing chords with are people that are imposing their energy on me without permission. So these are situations where I'm being woken out of my sleep, where I'll feel immediately their energy in the middle of a day for no reason. And I'm knowing, like, okay, they're tapping into my energy, and that's not okay. So I'm severing chords with those people. Sometimes it happens through jealousy. Sometimes it happens through love. And so there's lots of reasons why there would be chords. The karmic chords are the hardest to release because they will come back. And they will come back not because of yourself or the other party, but because that is a karmic thing. And until that reaches completion, you will have a really hard time releasing that or severing that. And so it does have to be seen to completion. I mean, those are the experiences chosen. That's why you're having them in this human experience. So on the top of my list, I have 6. So I know there's 6 things that I released in my forgiveness. There are 6 things, 6 people that I had to sever cords with this month. I again make an offering to the fire, and I burn the list. My last list for release is something, I choose something that has been key, repeating pattern in the prior moon month. So what keeps showing up for me? And so the best way to look when you scan over a previous moon month, what's the repeating emotion that you've been moving through? What are the things that have been really emotional for you to heal through, or have been showing up through different people? What are the triggers that have been constantly showing up for you? Or maybe not constantly, but the big one. And so for me, it was self-doubt this prior moon month. And so I was like, doubt in my power, doubt in my abilities, doubt in my gifts, doubt in my wisdom, doubt in my voice, and doubt in my worthiness. I release self-doubt. And that's one thing, one big thing, and I will make an offering again with the herbs and burn it. And then I add those things up. So there's 6, and then the 1. That's 13 things. And then I create a gratitude list. I am grateful for. And you can go all day long and write things that you're grateful for, but really bring your awareness to the things that have been true blessings in this prior moon month. What has shown up for you? And so a lot of the things that I'm grateful for are those very same lessons that I had to forgive and sever cords around. So it's beautiful, right? I get to have gratitude for that and write that down. So that list you do not burn. I do say it aloud, and I do make an offering to the fire to have it witnessed, but then I hang it somewhere that I can see it every single day for the next month. And that way I'm constantly reminding myself, I am evolving, I am growing. These are the things that have been the blessings out of the prior month, and it keeps you in the state of gratitude for the current month, and I love that. And so the full moon cycle is very powerful for healing, and so I have other rituals around that. One, I detox my yoni. And so because I am no longer menstruating, it's important for women to be on their moon. I mean, that's why it was called a moon. It's a cycle that happens monthly. And so I allow mine to actually mimic the cycle of Mother Moon. And so detoxing her, I love this company, Empress Body, and they make these beautiful little pearls. It's literally like the size of a little marble, and you insert that in your yoni for a couple days, and then it detoxes your lady. And I also will juice for 3 days, and so not eating like solid foods. And I have never been one to jump on any kind of bandwagon about what to eat, what not to eat, because this will help your spiritual growth. I think that's bullshit to put yourself in anyone else's guidelines or to put yourself in a box. But for myself, I know the liver is the workhorse of the body, and I spend enough time in medicine to know that you are not detoxing your body, but when you give it the proper tools and gratitude and the proper vibration, it will detox itself. And so for myself, I'm going to do 72 hours of juicing. And I normally only eat 1 meal a day anyway. I mean, I found when I hit a certain level of ascension, I really wasn't that hungry anymore. And it could be attributed to sun gazing, because there's a lot about that as well. Charging your vibrational body and your physical body by the sun. If you're interested in that, there is a documentary called Eat the Sun. Anyhow, so those are just some of my rituals for the full moon. If you have any questions, just email me or contact me.